Hello, and welcome to another episode of the Dauntless Pursuit. We are your hosts, Armand Shahinian and Marina Nazarbakian, two entrepreneurs who found each other at the gym one day, fell in love, and put the pursuit of their dreams into overdrive. In today's episode, we're joined by Brad Swanick. He's an actor, amazing artist, and dedicated bodybuilder. He is joining us today to tell us more about the pursuit of his dreams and passions in Los Angeles. Hi, Brad.
Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
I'm good. That was a beautiful introduction, by the way.
Thank you.
Very cool.
Thank you.
Yeah.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, who you are. So people who are just like listening, because not everybody's watching. As a podcast, they're playing on their car, radio, whatever. They just want to hear who they're like
Listening to.
listening to.
Right, okay. So, basically I'm from New Jersey, and I lived there for most of my life. I lived in Bricktown for about 15 years, and then me and my sister went to high school in Point Pleasant. So that's like a little beach town in New Jersey.
Okay.
So I was very like used to the the water and the ocean, the boardwalk, all of that atmosphere. And I'm actually a twin, by the way.
Oh,
She's my
cool.
twin sister.
Okay.
Oh,
Yes. Yep. So twin sister, older brother. I started working out when I was about 9 years old.
cool. Wow, that's pretty young.
Yes.
Like you were into bodybuilding that early?
Yes. So basically, my mother was very into fitness.
Okay.
She never competed or anything, but she was like the only person that I knew that had like a shredded 8-pack and bicep peaks.
That's
Wow.
impressive.
I thought she was like the strongest person in the world when I was little,
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, so she got me into it, and that's actually around the same time that I started painting. And I'm actually completely self-taught in art. I've never had a lesson.
Oh, that's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's just very natural. My grandfather was a painter also. He more specializes in like scenery, like mountains and forests and things like that. And I more specialize in portraits. And it's
Okay.
actually very funny because he can't do portraits.
Wow.
So
yeah,
that-
I've noticed that some artists either they can do people or they can't do it at all. They like specialize in one area or another.
Right.
Mhm.
So it's like the talent kind of came from him, but it manifested itself differently.
Okay, that's wonderful.
Yeah. So that's those were my main interests, and also, I obviously looked up to Arnold Schwarzenegger a lot and Sylvester Stallone, guys like that. And since I was little, it was my dream to go be an actor. And so basically, as soon as I turned 17, I went and got a job. And actually, I'll back up. Previously to that, when I was 13, I started working for my dad. So I
Okay.
started basically, I had my vision of what I wanted to do, and I just knew I wanted to get there.
So what were you doing?
So basically, my parents had decided that they wanted to remodel their entire yard, and we had a huge yard. So it was all grass, and they wanted patios, they wanted a swimming pool, they wanted everything like that.
Okay.
And so I basically told them, if you get the material, I'm sure I can build it, because I have
At
an
13?
artistic brain, at 13 years old. So they let me take a crack at it, and I did it. I did it beautifully. I remember when I finished with the pool, I hand dug that with a shovel.
You made the
It
pool?
was 5 feet deep, 21 feet around.
Oh my
Those
God.
dimensions.
That was your workout.
That was my workout, yep. And I finished the yard with the swimming pool when I was about 17.
Wow.
So then from there, that earned me my first car and everything like
Okay,
that.
what was your first car?
My first car was a Jeep Patriot.
Cool.
Okay.
Yes. So I loved it. That was like when I was little, that's what I wanted, a Jeep. But then also when I was getting older, I started, putting on like a lot of mass and everything like that. And originally I wanted a Jeep Wrangler.
Okay.
But those are so tiny on the inside.
I
I
know.
can't fit in the Jeep Wrangler. Very depressing. So I went with the Patriot. So then after that, I had a whole bunch of different jobs. It was all dedicated towards getting myself out to LA as fast as possible so I could pursue everything. And then my parents went through a bad time. They went through a lot of struggles, and I wound up having to help them out a lot. And, we wound up losing our home and things like that. And it was a bad time. They're good now, so they're on their feet.
That's great.
But that
Backed you up,
backtracked
though.
me a little bit.
It happens, but I think it builds character and
Oh yeah,
you still
definitely.
learn a lot from those experiences.
Definitely. There's always going to be bumps in the road. It's never like
Smooth.
yeah, exactly. It's all about your reaction to how you respond the
I mean, that's how you're gonna
situations
grow, right?
keep moving. Yes, absolutely. So yeah, since I was little, I worked as a bartender. I was a busboy for a while. I was a waiter. I worked scrubbing boats for a while. That was fun. That was actually pretty good money. It was really funny because there was fishing boats and there was also party boats. So you would think that, like, you know, if you had to pick one, you'd want to go scrub the party boat.
It was really disgusting,
That
I'm
was
sure.
like 10 times worse. Absolutely disgusting. At least you know what's
to expect,
in the
yeah.
fishing boat.
The other one, you can't do any use.
Yes. And if you see anything that resembles anything that you would find in the fishing boat,
Oh my
you
god.
know, you're a little like,
Oh my god.
Yeah, so that was a fun job. So then from there, my very next job was I became a bouncer. And
Okay.
this was actually during a time when I was, I also catered parties in New York City and the Hamptons. That was
So
my
you were in
first,
New York?
New York City, yep.
Okay.
New York City and the Hamptons. And that was my first time actually being around celebrities. So I've done parties for Martha Stewart. I met Jack Nicholson at one of the jobs. I actually almost knocked him into a swimming pool. So that would have been horrible.
Your story.
I met Alec Baldwin. I heard Barbra Streisand sing.
Okay.
Richard Gere. Yeah, it was funny. Martha Stewart actually asked me to go bring him like a bottle of wine. I was only like 18 at the time. I had no idea who Richard Gere was. And I was like, which one's Richard? And she was like,
Oh,
looked at me like I had 10 heads. I'm like, okay, never mind. So during that time, that was only a part-time job. So I went and I wanted to go be a bouncer because I just wanted some extra money. And that's how I met my bodybuilding coach when I was 19. He was the head bouncer there.
Wow.
So that was at a time when I was just kind of growing up into a man a little bit, 19 years old. And the second he saw me, his name was Chris Sack. The second he saw me, he told me, he said, you have so much potential. I want to work with you. And he trained me for the next however many years, 5 or 6 years. Got me from 180 pounds when I was 19 to 300 pounds
Oh
by
my
the time
God.
I turned
Really?
23, I want to say.
Wow, that's
Yes.
That's a
intense.
big change.
Oh yeah, yeah.
That's
and then
intense.
Wait,
then
this was
we,
300 bulk or 300
It
lean?
was 300 bulk. Yes.
I mean, still, like,
Yeah, I can find photos. It was a lot. It was actually really hard because when I was like 17, I was I was modeling and everything like that too. That was actually how I got the job in the Hamptons. Was I met my boss on a modeling job.
okay.
And it was really funny because when I was 17, I had like such a shredded up physique that I'd be going after all these like full-grown man roles, but for half of those things you can't do it if you're not 18. So it was very hard for me to actually break into it. But I was always used to like looking good and feeling good and everything, and at 300 pounds,
Must be
I
awkward.
didn't look good anymore. My jawline was gone. The face was like huge. I didn't recognize
300
myself
pounds.
anymore.
But his goal is just to put on a lot of muscle for you first.
Yeah, so basically my coach's approach was he wanted to just get me to as massive as I could possibly get. And then from there, he wanted me to just shred down as slowly as possible. And just
That requires so much
see where-
patience. Oh my gosh.
Wow.
Yes.
Just thinking about that 300 is a huge number.
Oh yeah. Oh, it was crazy.
206, I thought I'm big, but that 300 is totally different ballgame.
Yeah, it's 300 pounds.
Yeah.
It was amazing. I remember I was stuck at 295 for the longest time. And
That's
my body-
Yeah, so how long did it take
That's
you to
5
shred
pounds.
down to where you wanted to be?
6 months.
So
6
what are
months.
you right
Wait,
Wait,
now?
how much did you drop in 6 months?
I went from 300 to about 235 in 6
Impressive.
months. And that was,
Wow.
yeah, that was what I ended up with. And I was very, very happy about that. And then as soon as I finished that process, I moved straight out to Los Angeles to pursue acting.
How long
everything
ago?
like that. That was 2 years ago. Yes.
Okay.
I've only been here for 2 years.
So how old are you? Like 25 right now?
26.
Are you kidding me? Wow, okay.
26.
That's what
Yes,
I guessed
sir.
in the car, right? So it's like
Kinda.
26, 27.
Yep.
I guessed it.
Yeah, that's good because I'm finally starting to grow into my face a little bit. People have been telling me I looked like I was 30 since I was like 15. Yeah. So I moved out here, and it was actually really funny because when I first moved out here, I was completely alone, and I moved into my apartment, and
You didn't know anyone here?
I knew absolutely nobody. I didn't know anybody. I just
So were you scared?
yes.
Okay.
Yes,
so-
I was very scared, but you know, you have to be in order to grow. You have to be
See?
uncomfortable.
See?
But did you have a job like when you got here?
No.
You just had some savings.
absolutely
Savings,
nothing. I
or-
had some money in the bank, and I knew that I finished what I was doing,
You know what your goal was.
and that was all the work that I had done, and I knew it was time to go, so I went.
Hey, I'm the 300 guy. Come on.
Yep.
No, but he shredded down at 235.
No, I'm just saying that was his
that
mindset.
was
Like,
capable.
hey,
Yeah, I was so happy to complete the process. I had nothing else going on in my mind, and it was so funny because I swear the universe tests you sometimes. It just tries to see how far you'll actually
How
push.
tough
How
you
bad
are.
you want something.
You know, yeah. So when I first moved out, I had all of my stuff being shipped from New Jersey to Los Angeles. So it was supposed to be there the day after I moved in.
okay.
So I went there and I had with me a blow-up bed, and that was it. Actually, that was all I took with me. I packed a bag with my clothes and a blow-up bed. So first night, I'm sleeping on the blow-up bed on the floor, right? There's nothing in my apartment, and I was absolutely exhausted, you know, jet lag and everything. But I woke up in the morning and my bed was deflated,
Oh no.
and I'm just.
Oh my god.
that- had a
I'm
hole
looking
in it
at
or
it,
something.
yeah, and I look at the side and there's a big gaping hole right in the side of the blow bed. So I'm like,
That's painful.
I don't know what happened.
How did you not wake up in the middle of
I
the night?
was,
He wasn't
Got
knocked out.
tired.
yeah, I was out. It was so funny because I'm actually a very light sleeper.
Wow.
So that's what I'm saying. I was jet lagged. I was, you know, and I just woke up on the hardwood floor. So I'm like, okay, well, I mean, it's an old blow bed. You know, I didn't think anything of it. So, you know, I walked to the store and buy a new one. And then also I was having my car shipped. So my car was going to be there in 4 days. So I couldn't really go anywhere. So then I called the moving service just to see what time they'd be there. They wound up messing up the dates. They didn't get there for a month.
A month?
A month. I was in that apartment for a month. And
Without
what,
anything.
with nothing. Absolutely
I
nothing.
hope they like compensated you somehow.
No, they did not.
What do you mean no?
They didn't. Yeah. Absolutely
Should have
nothing.
called me.
Wow. That's intense.
So yeah, 1 month. And the kicker, I found out what happened to my blow-up bed. Because when it popped, or when that hole appeared, I looked at it and it wasn't on a seam. So it was just like in the middle of the blow-up bed. So anyway, long story short, I saw a big rat run across
It
the floor.
bit it?
So it was like
It
chewing a
gnawed
little bit.
through the
Wow.
blow-up bed.
Oh my gosh.
Yep. So
So it wasn't your weight, it was the.
yes. I had rats in the apartment. I had none of my stuff.
I mean, how did you
Yes.
pick where you're gonna live? You like just blindly pick something online before coming?
So I have a friend. His name is Alex, and he moved out here about 6 months before I did.
Okay.
And he is a screenwriter. He's a producer, and he's also an actor. And he's another person that he moved out here 2.5 years ago, and he's already gotten so much done because he's just such a
Hustling.
powerhouse of a person. You know, that's why I really like you guys a lot, because I can feel that same energy. Absolutely, because those are the people that
Do you wanna-
grow. You know, those are the people that grow the most, the people that are pushing up. You know, a lot of people, when they hit a certain level, they just kind of,
They get
Like,
comfortable.
whatever.
Yeah.
I'm fine, I did it.
yeah, they're like, I'm good.
It's
but-
like you hit 300, you're like, okay, I did it, whatever.
Right, exactly. I love that hunger, always looking for the next things. So yeah, so at that point, I mean, everything was like horrible. It was around Christmas time. So finally I got my car. So first thing I did was I went to Costco and I bought myself a $900 flat screen TV.
Okay.
So necessities, right? That was the first
Wow.
thing I did. And I put it on the floor. It was huge, and then I had my new blow-up bed, and I just kind of started watching like Christmas movies and funny movies, just trying to
Sure.
get
Motivate
my
yourself.
get my spirits up a little bit. So from that point,
So were you working out? I don't want to interrupt, but were you working out? There was that 1
When you
month of
first
gap.
moved here.
so during the first 4 days, I didn't have a car, so I had to take that whole week off, which was, kind of stunk a little bit. And then as soon as I got my car, I started driving down to Gold's Gym in Venice.
Okay.
So then I started doing that, and I was ordering a lot of my food from like Uber Eats and stuff like that because I didn't have any pots and pans.
Oh, okay.
I had nothing. Actually, no, I went and I bought one pot and I bought a spatula and I just bought what I needed so I could actually cook
All the
my food.
necessities.
Yes. So so I just kind of started getting my momentum a little bit, and then before my stuff even made it to California, I had found myself an agent, signed with them, and landed my first commercial.
Awesome.
Okay.
I like his
Yes.
hustles first.
So what was your first commercial?
So my first commercial was with Isla Fisher. You guys familiar with her? She's
It's familiar. I think it's familiar.
yeah, she's an Australian actor. She was in what was that movie? Wedding Crashers with Vince
Wedding
Vaughn.
Crashers, yes.
The redhead.
Oh yeah, now
That's-
it is.
yes.
Oh, that's the one. Okay.
That's Isla Fisher. Yes. So that was my first commercial. Was with her.
Oh.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Then from there, I landed my first role on 911. It's a television series on Fox that films
Okay.
out here. And I played a bodybuilder, of course. And that like seizes up on stage and can't put his arms down and everything. It was just a ridiculous scene, but it was so funny. It was so much fun, and those guys were great. From there, I landed like a couple smaller commercials, and then I just got into. I just did a music video with Lana Del Rey, and she
I
was
saw the
really
picture.
nice.
What were like? Yeah, I have to watch that, so I'm not gonna ask you. I was about to say like, what was your role in the music video? But
Yeah, so it was like a like 1950s kind of vibe. They actually based it off of a movie from the 50s, and I can't remember what the movie was called. Yeah, so it was basically just the two of us on a surfboard, and they were kind of bringing that 50s look into the modern era. So the movie that it was based on, the guy was like in a bathing suit. He was in good shape, but he was in really good shape for a guy from the 50s.
Back then.
So they wanted to bring a bodybuilder in, do the whole classic look, which that's like, for me, my look is the classic look. I love everything about that era. I think I was born in the wrong time. Like my favorite artists like Elvis Presley, I listen to him nonstop. Frank Sinatra, Frankie Valli, probably my
Good
favorite
taste.
artist.
oh, that's
Yeah.
wonderful.
Yeah.
What was I about to ask you? I have tons of questions. So let's put in bodybuilding. Have you ever had a chance to compete, or you've been like all over the place, or not thinking about it?
Yes, so I did my first show last year. That was one of my things that I needed to do before the first year was over. So I did okay. I got second in that show. But where I made a mistake was I went and I did classic. And that was one thing that I can say too for anybody that's listening, that it's very, very important to always trust yourself and trust your gut, and don't listen to what other people are telling you. Because I had so many people just telling me, like, you should do classic, you would do amazing. And at the time, I was sitting at around 245. So I probably only had about 10 pounds to shred up before I could actually go compete. And that would have been in regular bodybuilding. So for classic physique, there's weight limits. And I had to shred down to 207 pounds.
Oh.
And that was nothing
That
for
probably
you.
messed up your muscle
Everything.
composition and everything.
Everything. And I messed up horribly because I started, in order to get all of that weight off, because it was all muscle, I did a lot
Oh my
of
God.
walking on the treadmill, and that just ate up my legs.
I would have
Ate up
cried.
just
You just got rid of
everything.
muscle.
The
Yeah.
muscles are.
Yep.
Oh, yeah.
But I learned. So since then, I've been putting the mass back on slowly, and then within a couple years, given how everything pans out, I definitely would love to get back on stage again, but at a proper
So
size.
do you have your pro card, or you don't have your pro
I
card
don't.
yet?
Not yet.
But so what is your main focus right now? Acting or bodybuilding? Or
So my main focus is definitely acting.
okay. So you're not trying to
Definitely.
go to like Arnold Classic or Mr. Olympia yet?
Not just yet. But I'm basically, what I'm trying to do with my physique is I'm trying to build something that's very large but also very aesthetic.
Okay.
So one of the roadblocks that I kept running into when I first moved out here from Hollywood was that big on camera is much different than big in real life. So whenever I'd go on these auditions, they would look at me and they'd be like, you're perfect, but you're too big. And you gotta, and
Wow.
everyone was telling me that.
Well,
I
'cause
had
the camera
agencies.
adds. You look different on camera.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, and on the camera, it makes you look so much wider than you are too. So it's like,
Tell them to get better cameras.
yeah. Well, that was another thing that I had struggled with because I was debating kind of just fitting the cookie cutter mold and everything like that. But as time went on, it's just again with just trusting yourself. It's for me, it's better to be a rarity and not
Definitely.
Like
really-
everybody, like a copycat.
right. Exactly. So
Like Arnold
basically-
was, like he was the only like big, huge person that nobody could compete with him.
Yes. Yes, exactly. So that's more of the approach I'm taking now is I'm just putting on as much quality muscle as possible, but I'm also keeping my physique as aesthetic as I can. So I'm watching
Certain
my
proportions,
waist,
right.
I can pull full vacuums, and I make sure that I can always do that so that I'll look pretty for the camera, but then,
A beast for
yes, still have some sort of size to me.
Yeah, you
That's
should have your
wonderful.
friend Alex write a role for you.
He actually has. So
there we go.
Okay.
we are actually in the process of, and I can't speak too much into
That's fine.
these topics, but we got a couple TV shows and a movie in the process, and we're going to start filming those very, very soon.
It's gonna be out there soon.
Yes.
Well, we'll let us know
definitely,
and we'll be excited to see it.
definitely keep you posted on that.
Like in your mind, like I don't know, like that's what I do every time in my mind. Like if I ever get a chance to act in a movie, so you always think like what character suits you, right? Have you ever thought like you're gonna be a funny person, you're gonna be a serious person, or you're just gonna be like? Have you ever thought about that? What you're gonna
Like
pick?
your ideal character
Yeah.
for you to play. Not just because of how you look.
Like some people think like they're drama people. Let's say you can't imagine Al Pacino being in like a funny movie or like in animation, right?
Right.
You always see them as like a mafia godfather, like those kind of people. Who do you see yourself like? What do you want to be?
Well, I can tell you my main role that I want to play is Superman.
Mm-hmm.
That was like, that's my dream role. I play that and
You're gonna
I'm
be
good.
satisfied.
But you're gonna
so-
need a goal for after that, because with the personality you have, I'm sure you're gonna get to that. So then you're gonna have to decide what's next.
well, I would definitely, I mean, like, I love, like, those,
Or like you just want superhero type roles? Is that what you mean?
well, that, and I like, those, like, old classic gangster movies, like Goodfellas.
Good- Okay,
and things
that's what I
like
was
that,
trying to say.
yeah.
Like, do you see yourself in one of those nice hats, like in a suit?
Oh, definitely. Definitely. And that's one of my, my other things, and that's why I seriously, like, love your guys' company so much. Like, you have no idea, because I always dressed very, very nice. That's how
You're
I'm
Italian,
comfortable.
right?
Yes, yes.
You know how to
exactly.
dress up.
Yes, yes. And my grandfather on my mother's side was 100% Italian, and he always was suit and tie, like always looked great, and he was my role model a lot growing up
Okay.
because he was just a very respectable, just
Gentlemen.
yes, gentleman guy, but he was very tough too.
Unique.
You know, it's
Okay.
like everybody loved him, but he could cause damage. Easy
Okay.
if
That
he
sounds
wanted
like
to.
the stuff you
But-
told me about your grandpa.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the same.
He
Like
has stories.
he's always like he's in coma actually, unfortunately.
Oh no,
It's
I'm
been
sorry.
over 3 weeks. But his same thing, like you can't hate him. He's full of love, but he's tough. Like you're saying, like he can't cause damage. He's not one of those people. Yeah, come here, I love you. He's like, yeah. He doesn't say it. He show it to you. Like he's not gonna like start like pitying. No, yeah, you're a good guy. He's just gonna do something. He's not gonna even say it. So you have to realize that he did it for you.
But I
So
mean,
is that-
stories he said though, like it's just like
Yeah.
you. From what you've told me, he sounds like he's somebody who would like protect his family no matter what.
Yeah,
And, like do
like-
crazy feats of strength if he had to do it.
And like right now, he was doing bodybuilding too, and he's strong. Like the stories that I heard from him, like he had no limit. To be honest, like
I think
if-
adrenaline.
yeah,
helps
if
in
he wanted to,
situations.
like he felt like he has to protect his family from a cop, he would smash that cop, and he wouldn't care. Like, oh, we're gonna go. In that moment, he had to smash him. Like at
Right.
that point, or like pull someone from the car. Like
Yeah, he saved someone from like a car that was sinking in the lake, for example. He like broke through the windows.
Like
God.
in that moment, like his feet were stuck, and all he had was his head. So you know the windshield, like it's not like an easy thing. he was smashing the windshield with his head. Like he just hit,
Oh my God.
like he smashed it down. And when he got home, they're like, "Hey, what happened to your head?" I was smashing the windshield because I was trying to like. So those stuff are like everything like about him is like exactly like you were saying about your grandfather.
Yeah.
If he wants to give you a car, he's not going, "Oh, the car is right there." He's just gonna leave the key and he's gonna, "Hey, the key is there. You don't need to ask me. Just get the car whenever you want." That's like tough love, I would say.
Yes.
But he's amazing.
Yes. Yeah, he was great. But yeah, that was a lot of, I looked up to him a lot, and so, like I said, I always like dressing nice and everything. Once you get to a certain point where you hit certain proportions, you can't really wear dress clothes
It's
anymore.
hard. Mhm.
And I've had weddings that I've gone to that I've had to basically go in like a spandex shirt
Oh my
because
gosh.
it just,
Mhm.
everything else just looked absolutely ridiculous on me.
Mhm.
So I'm honestly like, the second that I saw this, I just got so excited and the fit and everything like that, and just thinking that I can actually go to events now and dress the way that I want to.
Plus, you're gonna have like
You know.
awards events and things to go through. So
Yes,
Yes.
exactly, exactly.
It was fun, kind of like funny because the time that we were passing by, I was looking on the other side. Then I was like, okay, he's huge. I hope he can fit in our shirt. Then you start a conversation. I was like, is he really gonna get something? Like, or he's just like asking? Because lots of people are like, oh yeah. Then once you put it on and it started getting fit, I was like, wow, that's wonderful. Like,
I mean, it makes us happy too, right?
yeah, we get really excited as soon
Everybody's
as-
body has different proportions, so to be able to see the shirts fit these varying proportions
Yes.
makes us excited. Because we can only test, I mean, obviously, we only have so many people to test on immediately, so the more people we're testing on.
Yeah, we got really excited once that thing like fit in. I was like, okay, he can move. So
I like
I
seeing
was so
people's face of
excited.
surprise, that's also fun.
Oh, I
Yeah.
bet. I was shocked, honestly, because I have a 36-inch waist and 21-inch arms.
Mhm.
So it's to get anything that's going to actually have like a taper to
Mhm.
my waist, but I can still get my arms into is like.
you're not gonna feel
close
like
to
a parachute
impossible.
or like you're swimming on a shirt.
Yes, and that's usually the case. For me, usually if I have something that can actually hold my arms, it's like down to my knees.
Oh
Yeah.
wow, that's horrible.
Yeah.
So have you had the chance to meet your idol? It was like Arnold
Yes.
Sylvester.
So I met Arnold Schwarzenegger in the gym, and
Gold?
in Gold's gym, yes. And I was training. I was on a bicep machine, and
Oh, that's
yes. So as I was working out, I felt somebody walk behind me, and I heard him say, "You look fantastic."
Oh,
And then of
nice
course
compliment.
Arnold's voice, you can't mistake that.
Yeah.
So at first I was just thinking,
Is this
like,
real?
okay,
Like,
that
am I
was a-
dreaming right
I
now?
was like, that was a good impression, whoever that was. And I turned around and I was like, holy crap.
and someone like
That's
him.
Arnold Schwarzenegger. Yeah.
Complimenting her, yeah.
So he kept walking, but of course I wasn't letting that happen. So I finished my set.
You made a mistake, man. You shouldn't.
Yeah, I'm like, yeah, don't open your mouth. But, yeah, so I immediately chased
Grab
after him. Yeah. So I asked him to get a picture and everything like that. We started just talking a little bit.
How did you start the conversation? I'm just.
Basically, it was Mr. Schwarzenegger. I need a picture with you, please. You know, that was just very.
How was his personality? Was he like really down to earth?
He's very, very nice. He's very nice. You can see that he has a very serious sort of quality to his personality, but that's just his work ethic, I think. You know, he's very sweet, but with certain people, I would hear him, he's very short.
I think life experiences just teach you have to be careful with certain people. That's
Oh,
all.
yes.
I'm sure
Yes.
he just learned to have his guard up until you feel safe to let someone in. Type
Yes,
of thing.
and he got, like, drop kicked in the back. And
Yeah, we
I
saw
remember
in
that.
Africa.
It was it in Africa?
I
But
think
it
it was.
wasn't in a basketball court. Did you
Yeah.
remember
I saw the
it?
video. I don't remember what it was. Yeah.
Yeah, I think he was doing a charity event in Africa.
Yeah, someone was.
And
Yeah.
nothing happened to him though.
Yeah, no. If you see it, like
Oh, yeah,
after
he-
that
he-
kick, it was like standing. It was like
Yep.
Terminator.
He was good.
Yeah.
Yep.
So after that, I think he was being like super careful because that's. I mean, what would you do that? Like, everybody's that working out, that they always like, I want to be like Arnold. No one else. I want to be Arnold. Now you want to smash that kind of person, and it's really cool. So you're just like messing up for other people.
Yeah. Some people have some serious issues, but you know, I mean, it's amazing that because he really did. He just ate it.
Yeah,
he
it's
was
like-
good. He barely moved.
And in that age, he's 73, 74.
Yeah,
Getting that kick and just still stand tall, like whatever.
yeah.
That's
And he's still like thick too.
He is.
He's still like, and he's not like hunched over. He's perfect posture. It looks great, you know. So that's when I met Arnold, and we started talking a little bit about bodybuilding, the physiques and everything, and that's how we got on the topic of art. Because
Okay.
Schwarzenegger always, looks at the body as an art form. He talks a lot about that in Pumping Iron, that it's basically a sculpture. So in that moment, I kind of told him, I'm actually a painter, and I'd love to do a painting for you.
It's awesome.
And when I originally told him about it, he was kind of like, oh, yeah, okay, and he just kind of walked away. And I don't think he realized what I could actually do.
so. How did you give it to him? That's the question.
So basically, after... It took me close to a year to complete.
A
So
year?
close to a year to complete it because it was oil paints. So oil paints, they're a little bit different than other medias because when you're doing oil paints, they have to dry in between each time you work. So they take so long to dry. So basically, when I'm doing an oil painting and I lay down some type of like darker area or whatever, and then I have to go over and highlight, I have to make sure that that is completely dry, because if I go in there with a highlight, it's just going to mix.
That means you're actually really good at visualization, because if you have to spend so much time painting, you have to already know what it's going to look like 4 or 5, 6 steps from wherever you are.
Yes, that's actually a lot of my process, and that's when people ask me to try to explain to them how to create art, how to draw. It's very hard for me to explain because I never learned. So
Just coming up.
yes, so basically, exactly like what you just said. When I look at a canvas, I can see the
phases.
finished product already, and then I just just hit the mic.
No, you're good.
Then I just kind of fill it in from what I'm seeing with the paints, and then when I'm done, I have an oil painting.
So how did you overcome with the patience? Because I know, like, for me, like, if I want to, like, if I know I'm about to see someone, I have to be able to wrap it up quick. So every question I have, I'm like, I have a closed window. I have to, like, talk to that person.
Yeah, he's just worried he's not going to have a lot of time with someone, especially if they're really famous. It's,
Yeah.
oh, how do
So
I
that
know
1 year,
what to say in
how
the
did you
time
do
frame?
it? How did you deliver it to him? How did you...
So basically, my whole thought process there was, first off, I love painting, and when I'm painting, I mean, I get into such a zone. 5 hours can pass, it'll feel like 20 minutes, and I just love it. Yeah, I'm just completely into it, and I basically just do whatever I have to until it's going to be finished to what I know the best of my ability is. And they say art is never finished, it's abandoned eventually. So eventually you just kind of have to stop working on it once you're satisfied enough with it. But my whole thought process with how long it was taking me, I wasn't very worried about it because I knew the quality of work that I was going to wind up producing.
Okay.
So I kind of thought, no matter what, it's going to be worth the wait. And it's actually funny that you say that because by the time I did finish it, he completely forgot about it. He had
But we were
no
seeing him
idea.
every day.
So I started going to gyms a little bit closer to my apartment, which I'm actually thinking about moving to Santa Monica soon, probably going to.
The gym that you are right now, it's kind of like a big, like a warehouse thing.
Yes, so I go to Metroflex in Long Beach.
Oh, that's a metro.
And then I also have a membership to 24 Hour Fitness. Because getting into Venice, from where I live,
Crazy.
it'll take me 2 hours and I can't get my meals in. And I eat 9 times a day, so
Wow.
Do you cook all of it?
Yeah, I cook 21 pounds of meat every week.
So you do meal prep, like you cook for the week all at once, or how do you
Yes,
do it?
I cook everything all at once every weekend. I just get all of that done, just get it all out of the way.
It's a weird question. Do you like food, or you're just treating it as like a necessary thing?
100% fuel. I don't like eating at all. I never have. I've never
You're
been
not into like
a-
flavors or anything like that. You're just
No.
like
You
whatever.
just put it in.
Yeah, even as a kid, like I was never like like
I think that makes
cake
your job
and cookies
easier, though.
and stuff.
Okay.
It does to an extent.
Because like for me, if I try to do meal prep, I don't think I could do it for more than 3 days. Because I love cooking and baking and taste and texture, all that stuff. That's why.
Yeah. For me, eating is just so boring. It's just, that's all it is. Me, it's just boring.
But you're just looking at it as fuel. That's it. Like
Yes.
this is what my body needs to look a certain way.
Yep, so I just down it as fast as I can. That's usually how I get my water down too, because I'm just literally dry chicken. I'm just trying to swallow it, you know. But then that helps me get in my 4 gallons of water every day. So
4 gallons of water.
yes, I do 4 gallons of water every day.
I thought 1 gallon is too much.
Yeah.
Just like whatever you're saying, you're like whatever.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's a lot of trips to the bathroom.
Okay.
You know.
4 gallons.
So by the time that
So he forgot about
he
him.
100% forgot.
But
by
did
the
you get a
time I
chance to
returned.
meet him like during that 1 year, or that was the only time?
No, that was it.
Well, how
I
did you
saw
let him know the painting was done?
So, what I did was it was around Christmas time when I finally had it finished.
Mhm.
And I was going to be flying back to New Jersey on the 23rd.
Mhm.
So, I had finished the painting and I went and I got a couple prints made.
Mhm.
So I made one print for myself, I made one for my coach back in New Jersey, and one for a very good friend of mine that's a big fan of Arnold. So by the time those prints were finished, and I had everything ready to go, and then I had Arnold's painting framed.
Mm-hmm.
So by the time all of that was done, it was like the 22nd.
Mhm.
So I had one
A
day.
Yeah.
I had 1 day to get all that done. So first thing I did when I had it is I drove to Arnold Schwarzenegger's office in Santa Monica,
Okay.
and I walked in there looking for him. He wasn't there. Then I drove to his house.
Nice.
Wow.
Yep, I drove to his house. I was right outside
It's
the gate.
exactly like doing my stuff.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you gotta make things happen.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna wait for him. I'm just gonna knock the shit out of the
Oh,
door.
yes. Yep. You ever heard you can't fit around Peg in a square hole? No, I think yeah. You
No,
can.
I can't.
There's
You just didn't
force
try
it.
too hard.
Yeah, just do it. So I went to his house, and I'm also very good at like talking to people, so I kind of like smooth talk the security a little bit. He was a very nice guy. I think his name was Dom, if I remember correctly. So him and I spoke for a little bit. I showed him the painting, and they were actually trying to see if they could get me in there, but it was like 10:30 at night.
Well,
So he
okay.
was like, I have your information, maybe come back tomorrow.
Okay.
So then I'm thinking like, okay, well, I can't come back tomorrow.
I'm just gonna sleep right here.
So then I'm like, what am I gonna do? But in my mind, I'm always, failure isn't an option. I'm like, okay, well, there's a way to get this
There's not
done,
going, yeah.
so I'm gonna do it. So I know that Arnold trains early. That's the other thing I know. I know he's in the gym at 7 o'clock every morning. So I decided, I'm gonna drive to Gold's. I'm gonna drive to Gold's before we go to the airport. So that's what I did.
Wow.
I drove to Gold's gym. I found him, finally. And,
I like that you didn't give up. You tried a couple things that didn't work. You're like, okay, next.
Oh yeah, I don't give up.
Yeah.
Yeah, no way. That discouragement doesn't happen for me.
It's funny, like the way
Yeah, that part of my brain doesn't exist. So then I walked up to him, and he was just about to start working out. So I was like, I said, Mr. Schwarzenegger, can I steal you away for a second? And he just says no, and walks away. So then I was
really
just-
1 year.
Yeah, so I'm just standing there. I'm like, okay, that's not happening. So I go back I go to my car, and I get the painting, and it's wrapped up for Christmas and everything.
It's funny the way you said no. I'm just
Yep. I'm like, okay, I'll be right back. You go ahead. You walk that way. I'll be there in a second. So I grab the painting. I go and chase him down. And I put it down in front of him, and I said, Mr. Schwarzenegger, this took me about 300 hours to complete. So I would love to present it to you and let you open it. So he just says, okay, well, my workout takes about 20 minutes, so just go wait in the front, and I'll open it when I come over there.
He wasn't
Wow.
fun.
Yeah.
I mean, like he said, like he's been probably around this kind of stuff
Yeah.
like for
I mean, I
like
get both sides, but
40 years, but
I can't
still,
imagine what you were feeling too.
like if it was me, I was like, are you serious, dude? Like,
Oh, no, I understood.
Yeah.
I understood 100%. Because, you have to realize with these guys, everybody wants to talk to them.
That's what I want.
Everybody also wants something from them. I'm sure that gets extremely, like I've had small tastes of that with the amount of success that I've had so far. And it's
bitter, right?
yeah, it's a little frustrating. I've had people, basically locking me into contracts or trying to lock me into contracts to give them money that I don't have. Like things like that, just for future reference. I've had actually friends, like close friends, I won't say anybody's names, but I've had people
Taking advantage.
yeah, basically trying to tell me like, like I've been there for you and everything. I think you should just give me 10%.
Are you kidding?
I swear to God.
I'm not surprised actually.
Yeah, and they're like,
I mean, the
I
other
could be your
thing is,
manager.
On your road to success, you really start to learn people's true personalities.
Oh, yeah.
People around you. We've had that experience.
You still have.
Sometimes it makes us want to move to a farm and just live our life.
Yes, definitely.
Let's hear about that after 20 minutes.
Yes, that's a saying. It's lonely at the top. That's what that means. Once you hit a certain level, it's hard to find people that are going to be able to match
Maintain
your output, and it's just the dynamics won't be there. And yeah, a lot of people wind up getting nutty. So I can only imagine what.
That's
They
why
just want-
just surround yourself with people who are like-minded. I think it makes a lot of
It's like they want to get dragged by your success. Like, hey, what's Brad's friend? Remember, man? We used to go to college. Like, hey, man. Like, we went to a club, Like, yeah, man, but
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah, so I could only imagine what someone like Arnold goes through.
Deals with, yeah.
I'm sure that he's been and has been through. If you think about it, like these guys on their way to all that success, I can only imagine how many people he's already had to cut out of his life and stuff like that, So I understand. I never take anything like that to heart. So he said, I'll meet you in the front in like 20 minutes. I was like, okay.
You
So
better be.
yeah. So I went and I stuck the painting behind the desk so that it was nice and safe, and then I went and I grabbed one of the prints out of my car because I also made a giant print for him to do whatever he wanted with.
Okay.
So he finished his workout and he came over and he starts, he was like, okay, so this is the present. He starts opening it and he's like, and I said to him too. I said, okay, so this
should
one.
have filmed him opening it.
I should have.
Yeah.
I know.
In that
I
moment,
should've.
you're not thinking like.
No.
You're just.
And in that moment too, I was just taking it. I can remember every detail specifically, because I was so in the moment there. But I had the print was gigantic, so that was like a nice 6 foot box.
Wow.
And it was rolled up.
Okay.
So that was like a 6 foot one. So I told him, I said, okay, so the big one is for you to do whatever you want with. That's for like charity, whatever. And I said, so you open that one at home, and I said, this one you can open here. So he's like, okay. So he hands the big one to his son, and he opens the
son was
painting.
there too?
Yes, his son Joseph was with him. And the second that he opened the painting, he pulled back the cardboard and he saw it. You could just see his face drop, and then
That's
he
awesome.
just picked it up, and he was just in absolute astonishment. And then the funniest part was he's like, oh my God, is this oil and everything like that? Like, yeah. And he's like, he says, where did you get this done? And I said to him, in my apartment, mostly. And he just looked at me like I had like 10 heads, and he's like, what? And he's like, wait, you painted this? And I was like, yeah. And then he started asking me, he was like, how long have you been doing art for and everything like that? And I told him, I've never had a lesson. This is the first time I've touched a paintbrush since high school.
Oh my gosh.
And yeah, and immediately we took a picture together, which I can send that to you guys. You guys can post it if you want.
I saw the picture.
I think it's on
You
Instagram.
paint the young Arnold, right? Like
Yes.
when he was like 28, 9 years old.
Yes, I painted his physique from 1974. That was my favorite. He was probably like 250, 245.
It was amazing paint. I saw
yeah.
it. I was like, wow. Like, it was like exactly him being like in the picture. Like, you couldn't believe somebody like drew that. I thought it's a picture. Like for a second, like, have you seen that?
I've seen that.
It was like a picture. Like you just took a picture of the camera and just like put it there.
Thank
That's
you
how
so
clean
much.
and nice it was.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
And you did the Sylvester Stallone as well, right?
Yes, so the one with Stallone's, which I'll tell you too, just before we get off the subject of Arnold's. So he did in that moment. He took my email, and that big print that I gave to him,
Excuse me. Thank you.
he wound up putting it in what's that, Flex Gym in Budapest.
Oh, cool.
And that's where like, are you guys familiar with that gym?
Mm-mm.
No.
Okay, so Flex Gym in Budapest, that's where almost like every celebrity goes to train for big roles. So Rock's in there constantly, Jamie Foxx, Will Smith, Harry Potter, Superman.
Budapest, like outside of the country, Budapest?
Mm-hmm. Budapest. Yep.
Wow.
Not like a
okay.
city, Budapest.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he sent that print
Over there.
there, and
That's a
that's
huge
hanging
thing.
in that gym.
Wow.
Yes.
That's nice.
Yes, so I'm very, very happy about that. And they didn't tag me when they posted it, so I'm gonna have to fly there and go talk to that
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. I was like,
Go
you
take a
have
picture with it.
Your signature's not on it?
My signature's on it,
Okay.
yes, but I doubt they can make out the name.
Mm.
So I thought maybe I'll bring a little little plaque with me.
Hey, that's me.
Put this
Oh no.
underneath it, please. Yeah. So the one for Stallone, I had met Frank Stallone in the gym,
His son?
Sly's brother.
Oh.
Yes, Sly's brother. And you know, he was very nice, and you know, it's great having the physique that I have too, because it's a conversation starter.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how we got to talking. And then, you know, I told him that I was an artist, and I said I'd love to do a painting for his brother, because his brother is actually an oil painter, Sylvester Stallone.
Wow.
Yes, he has galleries. He has huge
That's
oil
awesome.
paintings. Yeah, and he does like a lot of abstract
Mhm.
stuff. It's different though. It's very cool. So yeah, so what actually wound up happening with that, it's kind of sad. I'm a little in limbo with the painting right now. But basically, I had told Frank that I was going to do it of his brother, but I didn't tell him that I was going to put Sage in it.
Mm-hmm.
So Sage had passed away
Oh.
about 5 years ago. That
That
was
was,
Sly's son.
I remember that.
Yeah, so I found a beautiful black and white picture of the two of them, and I couldn't find it in color. So I really just wanted to do a nice painting of that and put color, bring some
To
more.
life.
Interesting. I mean, we have billions of questions, but we don't wanna, I don't know, like give you headaches and stuff. But one more question and that's it. What are the? I know, like you don't give up no matter what. You just like bug till you get to the point, which is amazing. But 3 things that somebody is hearing you as a entrepreneur, bodybuilder, artist, or as a human being, what would you suggest them?
3 pieces of advice.
I would say the main thing is don't listen to anybody. And I know that's weird because I'm giving advice.
I understand what you're saying.
Listen to me, don't listen to anybody else.
Trust your gut sometimes, I think,
Yes.
because people put self-doubt into you.
Yes, it's very important to realize that the people around you, you know, while they might love you, they might want the best for you, they might not.
But they don't understand your vision.
Exactly. They're not in your head, they're not in your body. They don't know what you're willing to do or how hard you're willing to push. A lot of people don't have that fire in them. So they can't even wrap their heads around accomplishing something great because that energy just doesn't exist in them. They can't even see the starting point for it. So it is very important to realize that you should not take advice from anybody who hasn't already done what you're trying to do, because then they have no idea
That makes
about
sense.
it. You can't listen to, you know, your buddy who's you know, whatever he is, whether he's a mechanic or an accountant, whatever he is. You can't listen to him about what it takes to be a movie star
It's true.
because he doesn't know. So
I always
that's
say, like, if you're a Toyota driver, you can't give me advice about a Ferrari because you're.
Exactly.
That's what I tell them.
Exactly. So that's definitely the main thing. Another piece of advice that I would give would be to relax. That's a big thing for a lot of people. Is a lot of people when they're getting into something, they just think that, you know, that anxiety sets in, or they think that, you know, working hard, like it has to be miserable, or it has to, if you're working hard, it has to feel like work, and that's not true. If you're working hard and you're doing the right things, it should feel like fun.
I feel like
And
he's talking to me now.
and yes, but I mean, you should be, when you're exerting
Enjoy
that
it.
energy. Yes.
Yeah,
I mean,
because I have this thing where if I'm always unsatisfied. I feel like I didn't do enough work, kind of thing. Like, oh, I could have been more productive. Look at
Yes.
his face.
And I was like, relax, Marina. We did like lots of
He's
things.
good at relaxing.
Look, we did. Yeah, you have to, like, if you know, like for us, we did a great Feed Expo. Doesn't matter how much you sell. You have enough guts to show up there, have your sets. No matter if you don't even sell anything, that's fine. You showed up, you did your thing, lots of things behind it, That's a great thing. That's it.
Yes.
Go home and just feel great about it. Not like, oh, we could like set out. Oh, we could be. Okay,
I think
you're
it's
there.
about balance, because sometimes I feel like if you get satisfied, then you'll stop progressing. You know?
100%. I don't think you should ever be satisfied, but I mean a perfect example, because really it's all about your body and the way that your brain and your body connect to each other. So basically, I don't know about the exact numbers, but when you're doing 2 hours of cardio, right? So if you're walking on a treadmill or you're running on a treadmill for 2 hours, that is about 10 times less cardio than 20 minutes of sex.
Really?
So you are actually, when you are having sex with somebody, you are working 10 times harder
Exactly.
than you just did
2 hours of walk.
for 2 hours of walking. You're working 10 times harder.
That's interesting.
Like, think about that. That's a huge
That's
amount of
perspective.
energy.
Just a great perspective.
Yes, so the reason why you're just not viewing it in the same way is because you're enjoying one and the other one you're not. So you actually, when you're enjoying yourself, your potential to put out energy increases tenfold.
That's a really good point.
So you'll always get more done when you're feeling good.
I like that. Sorry I interrupted you, it's just you're making this react. But yeah,
No, that's fine. That's fine. And then I would also say the main thing too is just trust the universe around you. Just trust that the good things that you're doing and the good feelings that you're giving people are going to come back to you, because they are going to. That's a big thing. It's very important, because a lot of people, you will always see whatever you're focusing on. So like if you're driving down, the road and you're just, you're trying to look for dead trees, well, you're going to find dead trees. You're going to start seeing a lot of dead trees. If you focus on bad things, if you're looking for bad things, you'll always find them. If you focus on good things.
It's like a magnet.
Yes, exactly. You're always going to find whatever it is you're looking for. So it's very important to stay focused on the good things around you, because that's how opportunities come. So for instance, the guy who cuts my hair, he's one of my good friends, his name is Sean. He is Brad Pitt's hairstylist, Jamie Lee Curtis. He's worked with so many celebrities, such an amazing guy. Him and I met at the gym because he was just some random person that came up to me and was just asking me for fitness advice. But in that moment, I just decided to start having a conversation with this person. We became friends, and that's who I was talking to. Now, if I was in a bad frame of mind and I just had my head down, or I just told somebody to, go away, I'm working out, then you wind up missing out on those opportunities and everything like that. So that's probably definitely one of the most important things for me.
All three of it was actually very good.
Yeah.
points.
That was really wonderful.
I'm impressed.
Yeah.
Thank you.
A question?
No, I mean, it was really fun. Time passed by really fast,
Yeah.
I have to say,
Being
which is
here
a good
for like
thing.
days, right? No, it was really great talking to you, and thank you for taking your time. I know you're super busy, and it's Saturday. You have to spend time with your girlfriend, mother, and stuff. But you took a time to come to our podcast. It was really great meeting you today.
Thank you very
Thank you so much. And
It's great being here.
Well, yeah, we'll be in touch and we'll have you
Yeah.
back again for sure.
so.
Fantastic.
Thank you.